Hello everybody and welcome back to my living room. As you can tell, I am back in America and I'm actually doing okay with it. No, really, I'm doing fine. It's okay. Now that I'm back, I wanted to address a question that has come up a couple of times in the last couple of weeks. Recovery from hypothalamic amenorrhea usually means, or at least it did for me, a drastic reduction in the amount of miles that I was running per week. Of course, not everyone's a runner, but as an ultra runner, I was packing in like 80 miles a week plus when I was at my peak. And in order for me to get my period back, I reduced my running mileage to maybe 20% of what it was previously. So with this comes a lot of insecurity. There's a lot of questions. I had been a runner, a dedicated runner for years, decades. So then you go from doing this thing that you do every day all the time and it defines you and it's what people know about you, to barely doing it at all, and in some cases just completely eliminating it. This whole situation is fraught with a lot of it makes you feel weird. You know, I'm not running as much anymore. Does it mean I'm not a runner? I'm running very little. Does that make me less of a runner? I mean, like, are there degrees of runner? Is it like a continuum? How should I feel about myself? I have been defined as Jill the ultra runner for so many years. Now what? Who am I? What am I? This stuff can get pretty complex and it makes us feel off, as if we didn't already feel off. Just the fact of our physical selves being very different because of less running and probably weight gain from eating more, which is the right thing to be doing. And now we've got this kind of like thing going on in our head, like questioning who we actually are. It can be scary. So I want to give you some steps to take that will help you sort of navigate this and give you some things to think about. Okay, step one, understand that just because you're running less or perhaps not running at all, it doesn't make you less of a runner. I went through this moment and I wrote about this on the blog where I actually did not want to wear my race t-shirts or hats or any of the jackets or things that I had earned over the years of doing ultras. How stupid is that? I was uncomfortable putting on the garments that I had earned with the same feet that are attached to this body right now. I don't really know why it felt fraudulent in some way to me. I would be presenting myself in a way that wasn't actually true. But that is ridiculous. I am the same person who ran all those miles. I am the same person who completed all those races. And I have every right to wear those t-shirts, jerseys, those hats, because I earned them. That does not go away if I have to reduce the amount of running that I do. Tulip, what do you think? Yeah? Yeah, I think Tulip probably agrees. I think this is particularly difficult in our culture because we kind of have this thing that we're only as good as our last gig. And we have this implicit need to constantly prove ourselves. So it becomes a little bit difficult for us to quote unquote rest on our laurels when we feel as though we're only as good as maybe the run we did yesterday, which was maybe not a run at all, but kind of like a walk. We need to get over that, okay? That's not the way to define yourself. It's not the way to define who or what you are. All of this being said, it's a balance, okay? So as much as I do think that you should go ahead and take a look at all of those medals hanging on your wall and take a look through all those t-shirts that you earned, think about the type of information that you're getting in potentially from social media during this time where you are reducing the amount of running that you're doing. Personally, I could not deal with the constant barrage of, hey, we did this weekend, we did this run, we did this race. The FOMO was so insane for me at that moment. It didn't help me to look at people, my friends included. It didn't help me to watch them doing what they were doing. Yes, I know it's probably pretty small of me to say that I couldn't deal with that, but I just couldn't. So I just kind of took a break from looking at all that stuff on social media. Okay, step two. Step two is difficult. Step two requires you to ask yourself some very hard questions. For me, what I had to do was I had to ask myself, what am I hiding from? Why is it that I was really interested in using running as an identity for myself? Is it possible that there are other things about my identity that made me feel uncomfortable? Or perhaps I didn't want everyone to see. It is a lot more interesting introducing yourself or having people talk about you in a social situation as Jill the ultra runner than, if you read my blog, you've already seen this, Jill the divorced, failed business owner who has like $100,000 or more in student loan debt. Maybe I had a harder time trying to convince myself that people would think that that person was interesting. It wasn't so hard to convince myself that Jill the ultra runner was going to be so much more interesting to talk to. Okay, this is clear and present bullshit. Why was I so afraid to let people see who I was? Why was I so willing to hide behind this title of ultra runner? Why is it that I made that the central or most interesting part of my personality? I don't think that that's the most interesting thing of my personality. I don't think that that is the thing that defines me. Yes, I've had a lot of ups and downs in my life, and I've had a lot of things that I'm happy about and a lot of things that I'm not happy about, but I earned every one of those things. And I have to be comfortable with who I am. That's the only way. Today, I am a person who has run ultramarathons. I'm not currently running them, but that doesn't matter a damn. Because you know what else? I'm also a dog mom, and I'm a girlfriend and a daughter and a sister and an aunt and a million other things. So it might take some investigation for you to unravel a lot of these issues, but I really urge you to ask those tough questions. Okay. Step 3, enjoy being out of shape. Before you think I'm nuts, just hear me out for a second. I did take 2 months off last summer from running entirely. But that first day when I decided to return back to trying to run again, I told myself I was gonna run 3 miles, I was gonna run them slowly, and I would take as many walk breaks as I wanted to. And you know what? I ran 3 miles, I only took 1 walk break, I ran them pretty slowly, and it felt amazing. I had gone years and years and years in my life without really getting sore, without feeling out of breath, just being able to pile on the miles like it was nothing. And you know what? I took it for granted. I drastically took it for granted. It was so beautiful to realize how difficult it actually is to run 3 miles. I could not believe how I had missed that. You know, that feeling of kind of working for it. It was amazing. And now I take that information very seriously. Whereas in the past, there was no difference for me between 20 and 25 miles in a run. Now, the difference between 4 miles and 6 miles, I can feel it. I notice it and I honor it. So actually it was for me a way of returning, kind of like returning to reality, returning to a baseline so that I could physically and mentally comprehend exactly how hard I was working. And I'm not going to forget that lesson moving forward. So you might ask me, okay, well, where are you now? It's a year later. What are you feeling like as a runner? I love my 1-hour runs 4 days a week. They make me extremely happy. It is the sweet spot for me. It's not too much. It's not too little. I feel good when I'm done. I am excited about the next run of the week. I don't have a sense of dread, and it feels really good for me. It is entirely possible that at some point in the future, I'm going to want a return to ultramarathon. At some point, I might just crave those long runs. I might just be looking forward to that kind of challenge again, physically and mentally. But the truth is that right now, I feel awesome, and I really don't want to mess with that. It is very surprising to me, in case you're wondering, that this feeling of peace comes from less running and not more, since it used to be the opposite. But this is what I'm presented with. This is how my body feels, and this is how my mind feels. And if I ignore that, what's the point of this whole journey? Your experience might be completely different. I'm not here to tell you about your journey. I'm just here to share mine. If there's one piece of advice that I could give you, just if there's one thing that you listen to in this whole video, it's this. You're amazing. You're amazing today, you were amazing yesterday, and you'll be amazing tomorrow. So give yourself a break, let your body heal, and I promise you, the best is yet to come. I also want to say congratulations to the ladies who have written to me to tell me that they have recently either spotted, ovulated, or gotten their period back. Hooray! Diva Cups for everyone. Please follow me on Instagram at A Case of the Jills. Find me on Facebook at Facebook.com/A Case of the Jills. Please go to acaseofthejills.com. Also, please like and subscribe here on this channel. And share with your friends or anyone that you think can benefit from watching this stuff. I really missed you guys, and I'm glad to be back. So, see you soon.